Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to this video. And in this video guys, we're going to talk about multi-dimensional arrays in our C program. So from the previous tutorial, we have learned how to use the basic array. So we have implemented one-dimensional array. We trying to display the contents of an array by using the for loop. And of course, we declare and initialize one-dimensional array from the previous tutorial. Now, as I've said from this tutorial, we're going to learn how to work with multi-dimensional array. So basically, guys, multi-dimensional array works like the same with the one-dimensional array, but the difference is that it contains the array contains a set of arrays. So in C programming language, it will allow us or it allows us to use multidimensional arrays, and the declaration or multidimensional declaration for that is by using the type, of course. As I've said from the previous tutorial, if you want to store multiple values, you have to use arrays, and in order for you to declare an array, you have to specify the type of that particular array. So you have to specify the type and then of course the name of the array, and then you have to specify the size here. So for example, size. Now this is good for one-dimensional array. So you have to specify the type, the name, and of course the size of your array. Now comes the multi-dimensional array or two-dimensional array. So you could do it like this. So size 2, and then this is the size 1. So this is how you declare multi-dimensional array or two-dimensional array inside our C program. So the type, of course, you don't want to forget that the size of, or I mean, the type of the value that you want to save in this particular array. So, and then the name, and then of course the size 1, and then the size 2. Now, if you want to create three-dimensional array, you could do it like this. Size 2, I mean size 3. So you have square brackets for your size 1, square brackets for your size 2, and square brackets for your size 3. So again, this is how you can declare your multi-dimensional array. But the simplest form of multi-dimensional array is by just specifying two sizes. And basically, guys, this will represent the columns and rows of your array or multi-dimensional array, because multi-dimensional array works like a table. So size 1 will be your um, number of rows, and the size 2 will represent the number of columns. So let's try this. Let's try to declare and initialize multi-dimensional array. So following this particular declaration type. So the first thing is of course the type. So int, and then we could say here a, or a variable name a. This is the name of our array, multi-dimensional array. And then of course we could specify the size for our rows. So for example 3 right there, and then the size of our columns or number of columns. So that's basically like 4, and then you could initialize this by using the equal sign and then open and close curly braces. So in this inside these curly braces, we could declare or initialize the values for our rows and columns. As I've said, multidimensional arrays are, composed of arrays right there. Okay, so we could add array of values right here. This will represent the row 1 of our array. So like for example 0, 1, and then 2, and then 3. Okay, so again, this is for initializing the row initializing the row index by 0. Okay, so we could access this by using the index 0. Okay, and for example, basically we declare it here like 3, so we need to add more arrays to this. So open and close curly braces and another one to make it, the length is 3. So in here we could display or add 4 and then 5 and then 6 and then 7. Okay, and then the other row will have 8, then 9, and then 10, and then 11. Okay, so basically we now have declared and initialized our multi-dimensional array. So the three here represent this rows, 3 rows, and as you can see here, we have declared 4 columns. So it should count, or I mean, the columns start from this 0, 4, 8, and then 1, 5, 9, 2, 6, 10, 3, 7, 11. So this will, the 4, the 8, and the 0 represents the column 0, and then 1, 5, and 9 represents column 1. So why this is representing column 0? That's because our index is, um, is 0 base, or meaning it will start counting from 0. So this will be the column 0, the column 1, the column 2, and the column 3. Okay, and of course, um, we could try to display the value of this. We could access the values of our multidimensional arrays by using the indexes of the columns and rows. So for example, we want to change the value of the values that we could get from the row 2 and um, column 3. So basically the value of, or the value that we could get from our array index 2 and 3 is 11, because this is the row 2 and this is column 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So we get the 11, or the value 11. So if we want to change this to something like 8, so we could do it or assign a value to this by 8. So it should display 11, or I mean 8 instead of 11. So we could try that. So printf and then percent %d, which is the format specifier for our int value. So we could specify the array index 2 and then index 3. So if we try to compile and run our program, we should get now the value 8. Value 8, as you can see here. That's because we already modified the value inside the array of index 2 and 3. So let's try to comment this and then compile and build our program. And as you can see, we're getting 11. That's because that's the initial value of the array index 2 and 3. Now we could use array, or I mean, we could use loops here to access and change the value of our array or multidimensional array. And of course, because we're using multidimensional array, we could also use nested loops to change and access the values of our array. So for example, we could declare for loop here, and this is, for example, int and then row equals 0, and then our row is less than, or yeah, row is less than, um, like for example, 2 or 3, okay, and then row plus plus. So basically, we're iterating from 0, 1, and 2 because we only have like 3 rows, but we're starting from 0, so that's making it like the value of our row should only be within 2, not 3. That's why we're using single, or I mean um, less than 3 right here. And then of course we could make another loop for our column. So int column and then equals to 0, and then um, column is less than 4, and then um, we're going to say here column plus plus, okay. And then of course we could use this particular printf statement to display the values of our array. So percent %d, we could use here the array name, which is a, because we're using the array name a. So a, and then um, we are going to specify here the columns and rows. So percent %d, and then here percent %d equals percent %d. So inside here we could specify the row and then the column, and of course the value of that particular row and column. Okay, so this will be row, and of course this will be column. Okay, so again, we're just trying to get the value of inside our array represented by this particular row and column. Okay, so these are the indexes, the row and column. So let's try to build or compile and run our program, and we're getting this particular output right here, but we don't want that. Let's try to add a backslash n to add a new line every execution. So as you can see here, we have all the values coming from our array. So array, and then we have index 0, 0, so the value is 0 right there, as you can see. And then a0, 1, so the value is 1. a02 is 2. a03 is 3. And a1 and a10 is 4, and so on. So that's how you can use the multidimensional array inside our C program. Okay, and I think that's clear enough how you could iterate and modify your multidimensional array by using for loops. So again, if you have questions, you can ask questions in the comment section below. And again, once again, guys, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.